You are Locked On Lions Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, that's more like it, huh? Welcome into a live Locked On Lions Postcast. I'm your host, Jake Rietma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Rietma. It felt good to see the Lions back in victory formation. A franchise best 13th win of the season. How about that? They sweep the season series over those Chicago Bears. 34-17 the final in this one. The Lions a perfect 7-0 on the road. It was a bounce back win. We'll talk about that. And hey, moldy sandwiches for everybody. Moldy bread. That's what Dan Campbell told us we need to get back to get used to eating, and the Lions ate today. Ben Johnson, Jared Goff were special today. We'll talk about the offensive explosion and wrap it up with what this means for a 13th win of the season. We'll also keep an eye on the Eagles and Commanders game right now, because that has huge implications on that first round bye that the Lions are chasing, in addition to an NFC North title. That's all ahead on a live Locked On Lions Postcast. Thanks so much, as always, for joining us. And we appreciate you making the Locked On Lions Postcast your post-game destination, the first listen following that final whistle of the game. And like I said today, good to see victory formation back and better than ever for the Detroit Lions. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and it's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I know everybody's checking out Locked On Lions with Matt Derry, but continue to do that. What a tremendous job he does. Always enjoy listening Monday through Friday and his recap videos as well. And it's all part of Locked On Lions and the Locked On Sports Detroit. So make sure you subscribe right here on our YouTube page, Locked On Sports Detroit. And as I mentioned, it's always a pleasure to be on the air with each and every one of you. And hey, how about a huge shout out for today's presenting sponsor, making the Locked On Lions Postcast possible. That's right, our friends over at FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com to get started. And where we're starting with today is that bounce back win for the Detroit Lions, and a team win. Overall, you knew you were the better team than the Chicago Bears. You were on the road. And let's start with just squashing and shoving that narrative that these Detroit Lions are indoor cats, and Jared Goff in particular, because let me tell you, they came out, they took control early. Yes, they settled for a few field goals in some of those opening possessions, but man, it was great to see them come out and take control of this game from the jump and let everybody know they were not messing around. And it was, in a way, it felt similar to the Thanksgiving game where, yeah, they took control of that game early, but they didn't put the nail in the coffin on the Chicago Bears. And even the play-by-play crew today talked about Jahmyr Gibbs having that fumble late in the first half of that first game against the Chicago Bears. And there was none of that this time around. The Detroit Lions had a lead going into the break with how they played. They went up 20-0, and a lot to unpack from that opening quarter. And I'm guilty of this. The Jameson Williams penalty really ticked me off. And I think I share that with a lot of people, because it was almost a carbon copy of the last time he had a immature penalty. And this one, the referees were, in my opinion, it was a bad call. He did not deserve a taunting penalty or whatever they call there. All he did was spin the football. But you got to know, if you're Jameson Williams, that you've got a target on your back. It's a zero tolerance policy. You can't even give them the slightest reason to throw a flag on you. And I think he's going to learn that. It's almost like Rasheed Wallace for the Pistons back in the day. They would bait him into getting technical fouls, and he'd fall for it every single time. So hopefully Jamo learned from that. And to his credit, he turned it around. And I tweeted this out that you can't teach speed, because that 82-yard bomb from Jared Goff to Jameson Williams put the Lions up 20-0. And it was the longest play from scrimmage for the Lions since Matthew Stafford connected with Calvin Johnson. I believe the graphic said 2013, but it had been a while, 82 yards. So you got to love that. But like I mentioned, settling for field goals a couple of times in that opening and the two of the first three scoring plays, they eventually, like I said, got up 20-0 with the touchdown to Jameson Williams. You knew the Bears would come back, but then to get that score to go up 27-7 with Amon-Ra St. getting into the end zone, you've got a 27-14 lead at the halftime break. And the third quarter and really second half in particular felt like you just control the game. You're the better team. You make some stops on defense. And how about the touchdown that put the Lions up 34-13. And that's when Ben Johnson's opening the bag of tricks beyond any of our level of understanding, beyond any of our wildest dreams, because my man Ben Johnson had Jared Goff and Jahmyr Gibbs simulate falling down and tripping. I was reminded of that Thursday night game against the Green Bay Packers on that pivotal fourth down where Goff stumbled, and he stumbled again, and you got Jahmyr Gibbs pretending to fall down. Come to find out, it was intentional. I need everybody to be honest with me. Let me know in the comments. When you saw it in real time, were you fooled like I was, or did you in fact know that that was intentional and that they were just running a trick play? Because that was incredible. Goff throws an absolute dime to Sam LaPorta for the touchdown, and the Lions are off and rolling, up 34-14 in that point. The Bears did come back and get a field goal, and you heard the crowd at Soldier Field, which, by the way, if you were at the game, let me know, because it sounded like, again, a Lions invasion, a Honolulu Blue takeover in a visiting stadium, which happens all the time. But a lot of Lions fans, it sounded like, were there. But when the Bears went for that field goal, down 34-14 to make it 34-17. I was kind of surprised by that because it remained a 3-possession game, and you just felt like either A, you weren't going to stop the Lions offense enough to give yourself a chance, and B, would that offense really score? So interesting the way that all played out. But in the end, it's the Detroit Lions with the decisive 34-17 win over the Chicago Bears. And I told you we'd keep an eye on Eagles Commanders. And if you're catching the audio only version later on, you already know what happened. But this is happening right in front of me on my 2 TV screens in real time. You got the Eagles up 33-28 with the Commanders down inside the goal to go situation. It's 2nd and goal with 10 seconds left. This is huge for the Lions. Come on, Commanders, because the Lions could take over sole possession of first place and be in position for that first round bye. So hopefully everybody's stream or TV is at the same timing as mine, because Jaden Daniels is back pass over the middle. You got to be kidding me. Touchdown, Commanders. How about that? I look around. I don't see a flag. Jaden Daniels does it. It's a touchdown for the Commanders, and they go up 34-33 with 6 seconds left. How about that? All right. If you're catching this on the audio only version, you're like, okay, yeah, I know what happened. But man, this is fun in real time. This could turn out to be a great day for the Detroit Lions, because the Commanders are now 6 seconds away from giving the Eagles their 3rd loss of the season. And how about the rookie Jaden Daniels driving his team down there and putting them up? That's great stuff right there. If you're watching, let me know in the comments. But back to this Lions game. I told you we'd keep you updated. I didn't know it was going to be a frantic finish like this. And now it looks like the Commanders are going for 2. But let's read a couple of the comments, because I always love hearing everybody's reaction after the game. So if you've got what you want to say, go ahead and use that chat function on our live Locked On Lions postcast. We begin with Jeff Wilford, my main man, Jeff, up there holding it down in mid-Michigan. Gotta love the support from him. Game 1, as it should be done. Early lead and kept the game under control. Exactly. I thought the Lions defense at times showed some weaknesses with that late scoring drive from the Bears. Kind of let the foot off the gas, but kept pressure on Caleb Williams relatively consistently. Just the 1 sack, but the back 7 played pretty well. And again, you're going to face a more potent offense than the Chicago Bears, certainly in playoff time. But that's going to have to be the makeup of this team, is outscoring teams. And when you put up 34 points and Jared Goff throws for 3 touchdowns, you feel pretty good about your chances, especially with the way the Lions took care of business and the way the Lions ran the ball. It was good to see that. Obviously, no David Montgomery. We didn't know exactly what that timeline's like, not requiring season-ending surgery, which is great. But, man, Jahmyr Gibbs was special today. 23 carries, 109 yards, had the early touchdown. and made a couple of plays out of nothing, made something out of nothing in a couple of plays. And yeah, the box score is great, but when you combine that with some of the impact plays that he made, I thought he was really special. And then Jameson Williams, like I said, he overcame that early penalty. I was down on him, and what did he do? Oh, he just went out and received 143 yards and a score, including that 82-yard bomb. So JMO, way to bounce back. Just got to eliminate those doggone penalties, and hopefully he will. A couple other comments. We got Demetrius McNeil in the chat. Big game, JMO. Come next week, Lions will make the 49ers pay from a long flight home in the NFC Championship game. Yeah, certainly a revenge game that you're hoping the Lions can really make a statement against the 49ers team that is out of it. They're banged up, and even though it won't have nearly the same impact as losing the NFC Championship did, it will certainly be an opportunity for the Lions to have a little bit of revenge. That's for sure. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights checking in, says, yo, what's going on? Glad to have you along. And that's perfect timing because the Commanders have officially won this game. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles 36-33. Eagles fall to 12-3, and that means the Lions at 13-2, a nice bounce back and get their franchise best 13th win of the season, and now are in sole possession of that first place. Of course, the Vikings playing later on today, but Lions control their own destiny. They always have, but it's good to see the Eagles not impact the first round bye or fall out of in contention with that first round bye. But again, the Lions control their own destiny, and that game against San Francisco, final road game, a chance to go undefeated on the season on the road. They're already 7-0 on the road, and then closing it up with, of course, the season finale at home against the Minnesota Vikings, which that game could be absolutely electric and monumental at Ford Field. All right, long segment to begin, which we appreciate. But coming up, I want to talk more about the play calling of Ben Johnson and how valuable he is, and Jared Goff squashing that narrative of being an indoor cat. Don't go anywhere. Live Locked On Lions postcast continues in just a moment. This episode of the Locked On Lions postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks. The most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports is on Prize Picks. If you love watching the game, you're going to love Prize Picks. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy football. And whether it's football, not just football, it could be basketball, any of your favorite sports, Prize Picks makes your holidays bigger and brighter. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Plus, this holiday season, you're giving away $30 million. That's right. Prize Picks is giving away $30 million in rewards during Pixmas. That's right. You've heard of Christmas. How about Pixmas? And offering 2 free picks in December. And when your picks hit, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. This week, I'm looking at Jared Goff for more than 230 passing yards and Saquon Barkley for more than 1 touchdown. It's quick. It's simple. It's that easy. If I would have done that, bingo, I would have won, because that's how it all played out. That's what you love about Prize Picks and Pixmas. So much fun to challenge yourself and all your friends. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly when you play just $5 on Prize Picks. Run your game. Let's talk about that Detroit Lions offense, because they set the tone. They executed. Would have liked to see a little bit better execution inside the red zone, settling for a couple of field goals. And against a team like the Chicago Bears, no reason to do that. But man, Jared Goff, all I heard this week and really this entire season, Lions can't play outside. Jared Goff's an indoor cat. He can't play outside. But no, whether it be Green Bay, whether it be against the Chicago Bears earlier in the season, I know it wasn't a cold weather game, but still outside against the Arizona Cardinals, Jared Goff simply wins outside. He's squashing that narrative, and no longer are the Lions looked at as a team that can only play indoors. And I think when you continue to make statement after statement after statement, not only winning the game, but putting up prolific numbers, and I'm not a big style points guy. You guys know me that, you know that about me. But when you can throw an 82-yard bomb and hit Jameson Williams in stride. It's showing off the arm strength. There's not really anything a hater can say about Jared Goff and his shortcomings in the past playing outdoors and in cold weather, because this year they have been non-existent, and the Lions have won some big games on the road outside. I mean, they're 7-0 on the road and a chance to go to 8-0 next week, Monday Night Football at the San Francisco 49ers at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, which, by the way, is a good time to announce I'll be at that game. How about that, sports fans? You guys know I love a good boots on the ground experience. So I'll be at that Lions versus 49ers game. And just like we did with the Tigers playoff edition of Boots on the Ground and a live post-game show from the parking lot, we may have to do that with the Lions and 49ers. So that will be a lot of fun. I always love coming to you live from a boots on the ground experience outside the confines of the friendly studio that you see here. The friendly confines of the studio is probably a better way to put that. But Ben Johnson, and everybody knows he is such a great candidate to be a head coach. And you know, in the trends of the National Football League, you look at guys like Kevin O'Connell, you look at, Kyle Shanahan's kind of hit a rough patch with the 49ers, but prior to this year, the Niners have certainly been a standard of the NFC. Add Sean McVay and the Super Bowl that he won. It's about young, up-and-coming, offensive-minded play callers and geniuses that get these jobs. And so it's no secret that Ben Johnson checks all of those boxes. And with the trick play that you had going today, the pass to Sam LaPorta, again, Sam LaPorta only scores on trick plays sometimes, it seems like, but man, that was really neat to see. Ben Johnson's going to be the most highly coveted coach this offseason, and that's why it is so paramount for the Lions to make the most of this special group that they have right now. And then you could include Aaron Glenn with that as well. I believe Aaron Glenn's going to be a head coach. And now what the coaching carousel will produce as far as where guys will land, obviously that remains to be seen. But Ben Johnson said he had unfinished business after last season's loss against San Francisco. Now all of a sudden you got the Lions at 13-2, a chance to finish out the season at 15-2 and earn a first round bye, earn home field advantage. Everything is in the Lions' control. And man, I think I speak for everybody when I see that you wouldn't want it any other way. And yeah, last week it was a tough loss at home against the Bills. Has this team seen their fair share of adversity? Absolutely. All you have to do is look at an injury report or two or see all the guys that the Lions have injured and all of the challenges that this Detroit Lions team has faced. And it doesn't take long to understand that, yes, this team has gone through a lot of adversity and it will continue to be an uphill battle. But man, I, for one, am looking forward to it. And it's a good reminder that the season can be a roller coaster. And last week we were down. You had Dan Campbell saying it's time to get back to eating moldy bread. And remember that you win so many games in a row, you can get caught up on eating filet. But no, it's time to get back to eating the moldy bread. And I think this team woke up. And again, I think using the wake-up call sometimes can bring, this team, needed a wake-up call. I think it just naturally, organically became a wake-up call because of the loss in a big stage to the Buffalo Bills. And I know it's only 1 week, but man, they played like they had something to prove today. And that starts with Dan Campbell. It feeds on to Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson and the rest of the organization. You got to feel really good about the response of winning against the Chicago Bears to move to 7-0 on the road. A couple more comments to get to. And disregard that. My apologies. Hang in there with me. Click the wrong button. Self-producing here. Just trying to get to a few more of those comments. And Jeff Wilford on it saying Eagles just lost. Absolutely. That was neat. I had the live play going on. You love that. Now we need the Seahawks to do their job and beat Minnesota. Absolutely. I mentioned that game's coming later on. That would be great. And I think the saving grace with all that is the Lions do still control their own destiny. But yeah, if the Seahawks, because I had some high hopes for the Seahawks last week at this time. Hey, it's Sunday Night Football, Seahawks, Packers, go out and make a statement. Nah, the Packers went out and dominated. So yeah, that would be nice to see the Seahawks come through and take care of some business. They got Geno Smith back this week, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But that being said, I know Kenneth Walker's back in the lineup, so we'll see if the Seahawks can take down the Vikings. But appreciate everybody's participation. It's always a pleasure to be on the air for a live Locked On Lions postcast, and making making us your first listen following the final whistle. Don't go anywhere. We're going to tie a bow on this one, look at the upcoming schedule, look around the National Football League, and continue to cruise along just like the Lions cruise today on a live Locked On Lions postcast. I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor making today's show possible. That's right. The Locked On Lions postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. America's #1 sportsbook is FanDuel. All you have to do is make it all happen at FanDuel, because let me tell you, FanDuel has everything you need. With the NFL playoffs, yep, they're coming right up. The Lions are going to be a part of it, and it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Hey, good thing I read the updated terms, because now we're talking $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W. Listen, I thought Jared Goff bounces back in a big way today. I'm picking him to go over his projected total of passing yards. He did. Jameson Williams with a lot of help in that. And that's where it happens. That's where the sizzle happens. Right now, you can visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. You got to make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. The Lions beat the Chicago Bears, sweep the series, and get the win 34-17. A lot of Lions fans at that game, an invasion at Soldier Field of Honolulu Blue. You love to see that. Big-time stat leaders, Jared Goff, 336 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, 23 carries for 109 yards and 1 touchdown. I've got him on my fantasy team, so love to see that. Jameson Williams, 5 receptions, 143 yards, and the touchdown. One other note about Jahmyr Gibbs, I thought he played really well as a receiver as well. And that doesn't always show up in the box score. So receiving, Jahmyr Gibbs did a nice job, 4 catches for 45 yards. So it can be little things. I know there's a couple of checkdowns that really helped Jared Goff out in that as well. And we saw Craig Reynolds, 4 carries, 18 yards. And Jermar Jefferson had a nice catch as well out of the backfield, 1 catch for 10 yards. Defense forced a couple of fumbles. I meant to mention that earlier, but you love what you saw from that defense being around the ball, being scrappy, and picking up a couple of turnovers by the Detroit Lions. Ben Neiman and Josh Pascal had the 2 fumble recoveries. I think Caleb Williams technically gets charged on the one in the exchange with Rome Odunze, but Rome Odunze definitely fumbled the other one as the ball carrier. So a tough day for the first-round pick out of Washington. So Lions beat the Bears 34-17, 13-2 on the season. That's the franchise best 13th win, because that had never happened before. Bears fall to 4-11. And the remaining schedule is intriguing, because you've got the revenge factor against the San Francisco 49ers. And when you keep an eye on the rest of the division, the Lions control their own destiny. Minnesota takes on Seattle today. That's not an easy game. And then the final game of the season for the Detroit Lions is against Minnesota. Now, that being said, I know the Vikings have the game against the Seahawks. They're already up 7-0 in that one, playing at Seattle. And then next week, the Packers and Vikings play one another, and the Lions will know the result of that game before they play San Francisco, because that game is on Sunday, and the Lions play the 49ers on Monday Night Football. And then, of course, it might all come down to that Lions game against the Vikings at Ford Field, January 5th at home, with a chance to win a second straight NFC North title. And that's exciting. That's right where you want to be. You wouldn't want it any other way. And for Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions, again, you hope the worst is behind them, and stayed relatively healthy today. I don't believe there were any injuries, I don't remember the last time we said that. And you continue to get guys back, and a first round bye obviously would go a long, long way in helping guys have more time to recover, stay fresh, and stay healthy in that sense. So Appreciate everybody tuning in. It's always a pleasure to be on the air with you. A couple more comments. Got to give my guy Dan some love. Offense is going to carry this team. Sometimes the best defense is a great offense. There you go. Speaking like a true quarterback and offensive coordinator, Dan. That's good stuff right there. But I couldn't agree more. And I think the telecast, both Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma did a good job of kind of touching on that sometimes you play the cards that you're dealt, and the Lions have been dealt some tough cards this season. There's no doubt about it. And I think the offense does a great job and did a great job of understanding their assignment. Even against Buffalo, I mean, you score that many points, you're going to win a lot of football games, but just so happened they're playing Josh Allen, who's having an MVP caliber season. That being said, I think Jared Goff is not getting enough love for MVP, and it was neat to see Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma put up kind of Jared Goff's case for MVP of the National Football League. And I know he's not concerned about individual awards. That's just not how the Lions are wired. But nationally, I think he deserves a lot of respect. And I work with a lot of guys who left Jared Goff for dead. With both my role in radio at 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, and then of course with Locked On Sports, and prior to that, last season I was working for Amazon NFL, and so you come across a lot of people. There just wasn't that respect factor for Jared Goff, and it would just tick me off entirely. But more on that maybe at a later time. But the Detroit Lions win over the Chicago Bears. I like this comment from Jeff Wilford because I happen to agree they should take at least 2 deep shots to JMO every game. Yeah, absolutely. I was at the NCAA Division II National Championship game yesterday. Shout out to the Ferris State Bulldogs. They win their 3rd title in 4 years. Pretty incredible stuff that Tony Anise and the rest of the Ferris State Bulldogs have been doing. But what I'm getting at here is you take a shot, and if the team defends it, okay, take another shot. And I thought the Bulldogs game plan yesterday, or Valdosta State's game plan rather, was way too conservative because they took a shot, player was open, and they never went back to it again the rest of the day. But the Bulldogs were 100% the better team. They won big. I believe 49-14 was the final, played right here in McKinney, Texas. But a lot of different, we're connected on every side of the all over the map here on a Locked On Lions postcast. But enjoy the rest of your NFL Sunday. If you're catching the audio only version, we appreciate that as well. Always available on YouTube. Check it out on demand as well. If you missed the episode, rewind to the beginning and check out our comments, and make sure you subscribe because we appreciate that as well. Our Locked On Sports Detroit family continues to grow. And next week, live on location. How about that? Boots on the ground. But we've got Locked On Pistons all week as well. Locked On Pistons postcast. So make sure you join us for that as well. My name is Jake Rietma. Follow me on Twitter at Jake_Rietma. And for your last reminder, that's right, I didn't forget, but thanks for making Locked On Lions your first listen. For your second listen, you got to find the new Locked On NFL with 2 shows every day. It's first the Madman, Tyler Rowland, kicks off your morning with a double shot of NFL espresso. Then stop by the barbershop with Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Have a wonderful day. Lions back in the win column. They win big over the Bears, 34-17. Franchise best 13th win. See you next time on Locked On Sports Detroit.